One of the oldest styles of RPG is the Ascii RPG, using dashes, dots, and letters to represent the creatures, yourself, and the dungeon that you end up exploring. And there's a brand new action RPG that takes inspiration from those old style of role-playing games called Brut L. But does it hit all the right notes and present a great role-playing experience? Or is it a great idea that just ends up falling flat? Brut L is an action RPG where you pick one of 4 different classes to jump into a dungeon that is randomly generated each time you play, and once you die it's game over and you have to start the adventure all over again. You get to choose from a warrior, an Amazon, a wizard, and a ranger, and each one of them has a few attributes that they get to start with over the other characters that gives them advantages or disadvantages depending upon the style of play that you prefer. And while aesthetically each of the characters do look different and start with a few different abilities, you actually have the same skill tree to work off of for each of the characters. So eventually, if you want an Amazon that's able to use a bow, you can learn that skill as you level up and gain experience while trudging through the dungeon. There's a total of 26 floors to explore in Brut L, and besides the very last one, which contains the final boss encounter, all the rest of them are randomly generated. They'll have similar rooms and similar trappings, but you're never quite sure exactly what's going to lie ahead each time you end up jumping into the dungeon. To stop you is the various pitfalls, elemental traps, and various monsters, including dwarves, skeleton warriors, giant golems, werewolves, nymphs that will end up stealing your weaponry, and even gargoyles. While the game is all 3D when you're exploring through the dungeons, at any point you can bring up the map and it goes to the old Ascii style of RPG with the letters and dashes representing all the monsters and yourself, which is a really cool feeling, and then pressing the map button again goes right back into the dungeon. The game uses great detail when it comes to the colors. It's all minimalistic in a dark atmosphere, but you clearly know what things are and what they're representing by the various colors. You learn quickly that anything that's green is going to be poison element, or anything that's light blue is ice, and red for fire, or dark blue for electricity. It uses all these elements, including being able to infuse them with the weaponry that you're able to find and build throughout the course of the dungeon to add in the extra bit of damage to certain enemies, or be able to even explore through certain doors that can only be opened with various elements. In order to build and craft each of the weapons, this is what I absolutely love about the whole aesthetic, is you're actually finding letters spread out throughout the dungeon as hitting items, all the letters A through Z, and by collecting certain ones you'll then be able to craft the various weaponry using them. Each of the letters can also be enchanted with one of the various elements or colors, and thus you'll need certain ones of certain color types so that you can then make the poison pike or a fire sword. But there's more to find in the dungeon besides just the letters to craft the weapons or enchant things. You'll also find items that you can then brew into potions. But each time that you end up going into the dungeon, the potions change what they end up doing. So you're never quite sure what they're going to do until you end up taste testing each of the potions, or you end up selecting the skill when leveling up to instantly identify what each of the potion types end up being. So one time through you may get a red potion that ends up bringing some health back, but next time around it may end up blinding your character, poison them, or even catch them on fire for a period of time. There's also golden loot that you'll be able to find throughout that you'll then be able to go to altars and offer as a sacrifice to the gods, and if they like what you're offering, they'll grant you an extra life. So when you end up dying, instead of having to start all over, you'll be able to resurrect, and you can actually build up multiple of these extra lives depending upon how many altars you end up finding and if the gods like your offer or not. Unfortunately though, there's no shops that you'll be able to spend the money at, so whenever you come across an altar, you might as well go for broke and spend that money to hopefully get an extra life, which will definitely come in handy. To make things a bit tougher, armor in the game isn't something that you're able to just equip randomly or be able to craft. You'll find armor scattered throughout rooms like chest plates, gauntlets, and boots, but once you find them and you have them on for a bit, eventually they'll end up breaking depending upon how much damage they end up having. And if a bunch of armor breaks at one time, it could end up leaving you exposed to some major damage from some of the tougher enemies. I do also like the little animation that happens when you end up equipping each of the armor pieces that you find, and you're going to be looking for every nook and cranny of rooms to hope that you're able to find these armor pieces to make sure that you'll be able to tangle with some of the harder enemies. You'll gain experience, of course, for defeating enemies, but also for destroying random boxes and vases, so it actually is worth it to destroy and find every little thing that you can possibly destroy to gain every little bit of experience, and you'll need it in order to get all the skills from the skill tree that has 4 various levels to it. The skills, of course, vary from having more vitality or being able to block more with the shield to stuff like the special moves. Each of the weapon types has a special move, and you'll have to unlock it via the skill tree in order to use it. You'll be able to charge forward with the pike or jump in the air with the short sword, or honestly, the most powerful of all the moves, the spin attack using the long sword. While you're spinning and circling, you'll be able to hit enemies multiple times in a row, and you're invulnerable during the course of it. So if you end up getting that skill, it can make some of the tougher floors a breeze for sure. While 26 floors may not sound like a whole lot, it's randomly generated each time, and the fact that when you die you have to start the thing all over again adds that much needed challenge to the game. I had several attempts where I made it down to 15 or 20 on the floors and then ended up dying and having to start all over again. Thankfully, though, you can save and exit at any point, but of course once you load that save back up and jump into the dungeon, it erases your save, so you won't be able to instantly restart from that point once you use the save, but at least you don't have to do everything in one single go. Brutal also provides, though, a co-op mode for you and a friend on the same system to be able to jump into the dungeon. But unfortunately, there is no online co-op, at least as of now, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be something implemented into the future. But playing it co-op adds an extra bit of fun to the game, so you're both competing for the various items to find and things to craft, and competing for experience and gold in order to try to stay alive, but also work together as you make your way floor after floor. There's also a dungeon creator mode, which can allow you to edit already pre-existing dungeon floors or actually create brand new ones from scratch, and you can upload them and share them with friends for them to tackle the dungeons you end up creating. After putting in several marathon sessions and working my way through the dungeon with 2 of the various classes, I didn't really run into any major problems. The game never crashed on me, thankfully, especially considering if I ended up crashing at the end, I probably would have been quite infuriated. There was a couple of very small freezes here and there, or slowdown, and only one time did that end up causing an issue while I was attempting to make a jump. You can jump and double jump while exploring the dungeon, and there are several pits that you're going to have to jump over. And honestly, the worst enemy is not werewolves, not fairies, not dwarves, not even dragons. No, the worst enemy by far in the game is the pits. The endless pits that if you fall down, it's instant death. You can resurrect if you have one of those extra lives, and it will put you before you ended up making that jump, but those instant death pits are absolutely the worst nemesis that you'll have to deal with throughout the course of your dungeon exploring. While it won't be everyone's cup of tea, the graphical styling I did really enjoy in the game, especially the use of colors. It's kind of like a dark dungeon exploring Tron style, with everything being illuminated depending upon what kind of element that they're representing, and I really liked that look and feel to everything, and was especially impressed by pressing that map button and getting to see the entire map in the Ascii version of it before going back in and finding where I needed to go to next. Brutal is available on the PlayStation 4 for $14.99, and it's instantly become one of my favorite of the randomly generated action RPG style of games. It is unfortunate that the game doesn't have online co-op, which I think would definitely end up helping it, or even be able to play with more than just 2 players exploring the dungeon, though honestly I think things would get a little bit too hectic if that were the case. I do wish also there was a bit more to it once I ended up completing the dungeon. I wanted an even harder mode or even more floors for me to explore, but I have had fun replaying through the game with it being randomly generated with the game's multiple classes. In the end though, I'm going to be giving Brutal for PS4 an 8 out of 10. But anyway guys, that will wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoy.